Hi, everybody. Let me check if. Okay. So we're back in the office. Okay, everyone. This is day 1864. 1864 days since Richard was forcibly removed from his barracks room and his life was taken on Fort Bliss. Okay, on Fort Bliss. That's why this is also egregious because, he was entrusted to his leadership to care for him, right? They have to care for him. He's a volunteer soldier, and they were up to no good, and he blew the whistle. He blew the whistle because they were breaching our national security. They were breaching our military installation, and they were conducting criminal trafficking crimes and crimes against children. Richard reached out to everybody he possibly could, from CID to FBI to the IG, the CPS, Child Protective Services, everybody, 911, the El Paso Police Department. He was reaching out to everybody. And he also asked for a transfer when all the retaliation. Can you imagine? The very people that are supposed to be helping, the very people that have a duty to help, and instead of caring for the children, instead of caring for our nation and honoring their oaths of office, they're absolutely compromised and they were corrupt, all the way up to the stars. The flag officers, which are generals, and then also the 4-star generals. I mean, they're egregious. Some of the most egregious are Mealy, are McConville, are Kelly, are Garrett. Really dishonoring our beautiful uh, uniforms, our beautiful stars, all the respect that we give those uniforms and stars. Not only that, but all the benefits. We treat our military very, very well with their benefits, especially if you're a general. Uh, you know, you're set for life. You're absolutely set for life. So, this was so egregious that Richard was forcibly removed from his barracks room, and the prime suspects are those, CID, and of course, platoon leader, his platoon leader, and also the platoon leader's mother. And there, with all these connections to Fort Bliss, totally connected to Fort Bliss in so many ways, and Park University and the Veterans Administration, IDES Pueblo, um, the DES, Thomas Kane, the Director of Emergency Services, the General himself, the flag officers. They're all connected. And, you could call it a deep state, you could call it a cartel, you could call it organized crime. Leilani Hart was getting her mail at Dreams Cabaret. And of course, connected to Nadal Baim, uh, who's a Palestinian arms dealer, absolutely connected to the Hart family. The Hart family uh, have confessed, Leilani Hart has confessed to the worst type of crimes against children, confessed about her family. being involved in the worst type of crimes against children and against themselves. Brother and brother, and father, brother in front of the father, every which way. Um, the worst type of crimes. And so to be involved with Nadal Baim, to be involved with the G3 of the 32nd ADCOM, Bradford Bugado, to be involved with the DES, Thomas Kane, and Park University, which Leilani Hart, caused a lot of trouble there. Caused a lot of trouble there. But she's also part of the stake, right? Part of the Mormon stake, um, right there in El Paso, which is connected to Conal Whetten, the assistant um, FBI agent in charge, and also a liaison for Juarez. Also, he's so brazen. Conal Whetten is so brazen. So all of this is very, very connected. And because Conal Whetten is so concerned about naming different countries as illicit funds, naming, I think Mexico is number 5 in the most egregious and illicit funds. And yet, um, he favors his Mormon faction protecting the likes of Leilani Hart, protecting the likes of so many in that faction. And of course, the big fish, right? The big fish, Woody Hunt, protecting him. And, you know, working with Mexico, knowing Mexico very well because the Mormon stakes in Mexico are huge. Because in the articles, you can read all kinds of articles with Conal Whetten in it. Um, uh, you know, uh, this is not just me saying this. This is me reading through the articles and him going to the Tijuana temple, being working in the temple, which is a really big deal in the Mormon faction that he's in. Uh, and of course, there's 2 temples um, right there in Juarez, in Colonial Juarez, and right there over the border in Juarez itself, downtown. And they have access. They have access to cross the border because of their temples being across the border. And even during the lockdown, they had access, they had permission. And, so this is a very big deal because most of the people that are involved in um, the criminal trafficking and up to no good in Richard's case, in his murder case, and the retaliation and everything are part of this Mormon faction. And so this is not hit on the faith. It is the access, the network, and the dual loyalties, the conflicts of interest that this creates, especially when you're the assistant uh, agent in charge of the El Paso field office and also the liaison uh, to Mexico, to Juarez, and work closely in the State Department, which we know that Cesar Haragay and many others uh, were using, uh, as a cartel hub, right? Um, Cartel coming in, sitting there. There's pictures um, all over the place. You can tell that the whole thing was so compromised because none of that would happen otherwise, and none of the hundreds of thousands of children being trafficked through Fort Bliss, all of the weapons, and not just weapons, but a lot of ammunition and even explosives. That's not me. That's all been reported. Them trafficking explosives, and then all of the drones. The drones. So you have drones, and then they have explosives. It gets very, very dangerous very quickly. And now with the AI, um, and all of um, the sensors, sensors have become so important to everything, because when you first had these drones, they were very hard to learn how to fly. You or those little helicopter toys. You'd want to practice on those a little bit, and then go to the drones, because you didn't want to drive your drone into a building wall. Or now they've gotten so good with the AI capabilities and all the sensors and the cameras and all of that, um, that they have protections on that. Now it's just the wires, right? The wires, the electrical wires. Um, so the drones are a really big deal, because the drones are used, big drones, not just little drones. And ADA is all about big drones. Used to they would be about rockets and missiles, and then they were with the Patriot missiles, right? But now they're about the drones. Drones are the modern warfare, and so this is very important to be aware of all of this, connect all the dots and all of this, because Richard was ADA, and they were criminal trafficking. And if you're criminal trafficking drones and criminal trafficking ammunition and criminal trafficking explosives, um, if you're, uh, wanting to back up your substance trafficking, your human trafficking, your dead body trafficking, everything, auto parts, a lot of auto parts. Um, if you're trying to back that up with power, right, to be uh, cartel not to be messed with, you're going to use drones, you're going to use a lot of weapons, a lot of ammunition, and even the explosives. And so uh, this is like modern warfare, right? And thank God that President Trump renamed the Department of Defense the Department of War. It makes a huge difference legally in our son's case. It's I should spell that all out for everyone, and I'll do that. I'll put up a post. I think I did put up a post, but it's very important for everyone to understand that it was absolutely necessary in the fight against the cartel to change the name of the Department of Defense to the Department of War, because of how tech everything has gotten, and the bureaucracy that is so mutinous, that if you're going to save the country, you have to think outside the box. And President Trump is very, very good at doing that. And because we have all these connections, all this intelligence, we're getting a lot of information that, of course, the news just doesn't put out. And so we want to share it with everyone. It's very, very important to have the name, the Department of War. Um, and, to fight, uh, expose, to get accountability against those like Conal Whetten that are so brazen that they will act as an FBI agent while serving foreign and domestic enemies. And he really is the picture of that. Um, and so much that he has done in his real estate transactions and exactly where he lives, who he lives next to, the jobs that he does. It is very, very revealing that he is up to no good, that he is brazen, that being an FBI assistant special agent was for access and for the sabotage of um, ongoing investigations into criminal trafficking and criminality, period. And so, because he absolutely knew, he has reported on it in even conferences, far away from home, but he's done it in Mexico. He knows how Mexico operates. So, it's we need to really vet whoever becomes an FBI agent, and they can't have the conflicts of interest that Conal Whetten has, because it's going to turn out bad. There's no, he has too many conflicts of interest. He has too many loyalties outside of the loyalty to the country, outside of the loyalty of his oath of being an FBI agent. That's way down the totem pole, if it even measures on his loyalty scale. I don't think it does at all, because he's actively sabotaging the United States, and where his position in the FBI and liaison to Juarez could absolutely bring a lot of good, and he doesn't, and neither does Woody Hunt, and that's why that's so important. It's really the poison pawns is coming to a 2.0, right? The poison pawns that Julio Cordero and Richard Halliday are coming closer and closer together, and we're getting a lot of um, a lot of intel on his death, on the shooter, and we will be absolutely letting everyone know about that information that we have gotten, and making sure that um, everything is as we're told, right? Because there's so many bad actors that will tell you all kinds of stuff, and you have to check it and check it twice. And we have been right, haven't we? We've been right about the magistrate court with the judges that are imposters. They're supposed to be elected. They're not, so they're just imposters. They have no, under the Texas Constitution, which is the law of the land in Texas, and along with the Constitution of the United States, along with um, regulations, right? Um, the You would think that Woody Hunt would uh, do a better job. You would think that Conal Whetten would do a better job. Um, it's according to that, they're violating it, and the judges on the magistrate court are supposed to be voted in. They're supposed to be elected. And you would think that people that are very into knowing all of this would want to help the taxpayer, help the voter, not take away their voter rights. And that's what's happened here. And of course, the DA's office totally broken. No legitimate DA since Yvonne Rosales. And you would think that if you are Woody Hunt, you would want the best for your uh, uh, area that you live in. And that would include having a legitimate DA and a legitimate chief medical examiner, and it's non-existent. So he doesn't want a healthy El Paso. He doesn't want a healthy judicial system. He doesn't want a healthy prosecutor's office, right? Uh, no, it's all broken, and that's not by accident. Okay, that's deliberate. That is absolutely deliberate, so that the criminal trafficking, which kind of tells you, I guess he must be involved. He must be involved in the criminal trafficking. He must be involved in crime that's going on in El Paso County. Otherwise, he would not put up with this. He would not tolerate it, especially as a billionaire, multi-billionaire. You have an invested interest in your community, and his invested interest is to keep it criminal. That's very, very clear. That's not even left to doubt, because we have the timeline, we have the crimes. We have an illegal chief medical examiner that botches uh, autopsies, that botches cases for cause and manner of death. We have, uh, you know, the DAs that are 2028 stamp, absolutely big time botch. And Bill Hicks, uh, also a usurper, not signing the statement of officer and being the lawyer for Purchase Funeral Homes, which is so involved in this trafficking of human remains, to profit off of multiple times the same body, the same remains, just to recycle the bodies, right? Recycle the bodies and profit off of them and take advantage of the taxpayer and take advantage of loved ones' families. It's really, really despicable. So, you know, if they wanted to do better, if Conal Whetten and Woody Hunt wanted to do better, they would. But no, it was left to those like Richard, like Julio Cordero. Cordero was major because he brought down the Delia Briones, I believe sister-in-law, right? For the fraud, and many other poison pawns, and all of this, So Julio Cordero was, let's just say, a very seasoned FBI agent that had retired. But once a seasoned FBI agent, always a seasoned FBI agent, and he continued to look into the poison pawns, who were the corrupt ones, right? And we believe, after thoroughly going over his death, that it's stinky. It's very, very stinky. Nothing makes sense, and because of that, we've gotten information, intelligence coming in, revealing revealing a whole lot, and really, what it's revealing is Richard's case and Julio Cordero's case growing very close together, intertwining, I would say, intertwining. So that is really, um, besides the George Alhana mess, um, and everyone needs to know that Yvonne Rosales, could never um, stick up for herself, because she was entwined in this shame, this affair, this long affair with George Alhana. And it's a honey trap, okay? Because uh, we have confirmed that, he was using her. He was using her. He wanted a position, but he wasn't. He was pretty feeble, okay, and his record is pretty feeble. And feeble people can't get into those positions unless they, um, I guess, fraudulently get into those positions. And so that's why he used Rosales. in a romantic way, in a, seductive way, seducing her, and getting into a law firm with her, and then having her as a front because of the name Rosales, it's a big name. And then, becoming the DA. She became the DA. She did, right? But, what we're hearing is he used her. He used her quite a bit for all kinds of reasons, all kinds of reasons. So Nadal Bayim, George Elhana, Conal Whetten, Woody Hunt, the Leilani Hart, Dallas Hart, James Courtney Hart. I hope I said Nadal Bayim. Um, you know, all of them are very, very connected. Okay, it's all very, very connected, and they're up to no good. And so that's all coming out, and we will absolutely keep you updated every day uh, that we get new information. The new information right now, just to give you a heads up, is about Julio Cordero and his death. Okay. Um, and it really ties in together Richard's case. So we'll let you know more about that. We're still reviewing all that material, but it's huge. And do not believe the narrative that's out there. We're going to clarify that for everyone. So thank you so much. God bless you. And thank you, Anicia, for coming on.